before starting real program, you have to set your whole motor's PWM value. You align your motors and assemble as same as my video, but there can be a little bit difference in angle. Yeah, so you have to find your own PWM value. So watching my video, that I'll show you after this, you have to find 0 PWM value and 180 PWM value, and sometimes it can be 90 degree or 140 or 130, but you have to set your motor, all your 20 motors, and find it and then write on your program. So let's start. Okay, let's before writing starting program, you have to understand how servo works. And there is a ground pin and VCC pin and signal pin, so you have to understand how things goes on signal pin. Servo works like a cycle, like this. So this part is 0 to 1, and it goes same, like this. We call this pulse. So starting from this point to this point, we call it like it is duty cycle. It is just in our like MG 996R motor. It is 20 millisecond. It means 50 hertz. Starting from this part to this part. It never change, but if you move your servo with your Arduino, like this length of this high pulse, this I'll just write high, sorry, low. So in this length changes when you move servo. So I'll draw servo like this and this. If it's axis goes clockwise, go right, in this part I'll put just 0 degree. This length gets shorter, like this. But if it rotates counterclockwise, CCW, and if it goes 180 degree, this length goes further, wider, like this. So if you change this length of this pulse, servo moves like, if it goes wider, it moves counter clockwise, and it moves shorter, it rotates to clockwise. So before start, you have to find this length of your motor's duty cycle. It can be different by motors, and it can be different that because there can be some problems with your joint and angles. So you have to find your this value. Normally it is in my case it is 100 microsecond, and 180 degree it is usually 500 microseconds, but it is just normally, and in definite it can be really different. It can be 90 or 100 like 10 or 112, so it moves, so you have to find your own value of this 0 degree to 180 degree. So but some motor like ID 4 and 9, because of movement of angle, I defined it to like 130 degree, and ID 12 and 17 I defined 140 because the servo can't move. If you made a robot, you can understand why I didn't define 180 degree, because motor cannot move that like 180 degree. So I just wrote like 130 and 140, and you have to find that like microseconds. And lastly, like ID 15 and 20, I defined it just 90 degree because it is just gripper, so it can't move to like 180 degree. So you can I'll show you program. So using that program, you have to find your robot's own 0 degree microsecond and 180 degree microseconds, and in this case you have to find that angles like microseconds. So let's start. So let's start to talk about program. So I began my PC boards and I set PWM frequencies to 50 hertz, to lag board and ARM board. And as you can see, using stereo monitor, you can find your own PWM microseconds. So to do this, in my case, in this program, we will find like a lag board. Like 0 in means I index is 0, so it means ID 1. So we're gonna find ID 1's PWM value. So I'll upload it, and then like after uploading, we will open serial monitor and like type out PWM values. So I'll open my serial monitor, and then as you can see, it goes like zeros go on. So if I write like 100, and you can't see in video, but like in if you like attach your robot, and you can see that this robot like motor moves. So you have to find like write exactly 0 degree, like writing. If it is not 100, you can change the value to, for example, 90 or 110. So move this value to find the 0 degree. After finding it, you can write on your memo, or like you can just think it, and then on like this program, normal angle. Wait a minute. As you can see, if I found like with this programs, and 0 angle of ID1 is 110, like I can type on here like 110. So, and then after finding this is like 110, 0 degree, you can find out like 180 degrees PWM value. So I can type like 500 or 510 or 20, like, and found that like ID1's 180 degrees PWM value is 520. You can type out on this. So in this angle, like program using my this intro test program, I find all of my motor's PWM value. So I've typed down on this like define language. So like I found to like ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 and 11 to 20. So you have to find your own value with using this intro test program.